So we haven't created these rail guns yet. So we have to science the hell out of it, but when we do create them, I'm gonna show science this video. So science, we need to come up with a rail gun to attach to our spaceships, because the elemental universe, when they get these videos that we're gonna make, we have to come up with a rail gun that's capable of punching through pink glass, and that stuff's very, very durable. So the size of the projectile, I'm trying to figure out. I'm telling a story behind the scenes here where we're gonna make projectiles the size of eggs as people pleasers. Projectiles the size of a grapefruit to bring down a city, because they have pink glass cities, but they also have regular buildings, like concrete buildings. And then I said we're gonna create one the size of watermelons. If we had a projectile, a railgun projectile that was the size of a watermelon, we could bring down probably a building, like a concrete building, like any one of our cities. If you're shooting it from outer space and that projectile's traveling at 10,000 miles per hour, it will bring down that building, something the size of a watermelon. However, if we're fighting the pink glass cities, if we shot that same watermelon at the pink glass cities, it would probably be reflected. The glass wouldn't break through the glass, so we need something a little bit bigger. So, when you scientists are looking at my UFO drawings, we need to attach those railguns. The guys in the elemental universe, they don't have, they don't know how to create that technology. So we have to show them how to create it. So I need you to science the hell out of the railguns and theoretically upsize those to the size that could punch through pink glass. The pink glass, a quarter inch of that stuff is equivalent to 6 inches of bulletproof glass. So, like this window here, that's a quarter inch, but it's equivalent to 6 inches of bulletproof glass, that's a pretty strong panel that we have to punch through. So, as I'm looking at this bucket over here, that's where I'm coming up with the size pair comparison. So here, that bucket, it's a representation of a pink glass city. And then those trees represent like a rod from God, which is a weapon. It's a railgun. It's not a railgun, but basically the concept is to drop a rod from a satellite in space and let gravity do the rest and let it hit the planet. So if that's an 8-mile wide city, then those trees, they represent, a rather large projectile. Larger than a watermelon, that's for sure. So I would say those projectiles, based on that building there, are probably the size of the building. See the window where it says 8? Okay. You would theoretically come up with a projectile that's probably 8 feet in diameter. And that would probably punch through that pink glass super city and reach its nuclear fusion reactor's core and disable the city. So I get that from that 8 there. So if I look at the bucket there, that bucket represents a pink glass super city. The 8 of the window represents creating a projectile that's 8 feet wide, or 8 meters wide, to punch through their pink glass super cities. So if you look inside that window there, do you see that little handle thingy there? It's projecting out there. Where is it? Right there, that handle. That's on a red coffee machine. So that red combined with the window, which forms a number 8, represents a pink glass super city, because you take the red and you mix it with the white, you get pink. And the glass panels there, they represent pink glass. So that 8 is the number that we need to be working with, science. So you need to come up with a railgun that is theoretically 8 feet wide. A tube that's 8 feet wide with a projectile, I would assume, as big as that hydro pole there, which is probably 20 feet tall. But that projectile, it would be shaped like a bullet. So it would be rather sharp. You want it to be kind of sharp. You don't want it to be, you see the ceiling there, how it's not very aerodynamic. So if you look at that pole, that building is almost, I'd say it's 10 feet. It's like 10 by 15 feet. So an 8-foot bullet is probably right here, there to there. That's probably 8 feet. That little distance there. I'd say right here. So you want the bullet to be shaped like this, but then kind of curve like that. That's how big that bullet would be. It looked like a bullet. It has to be aerodynamic and a really pointy front. 8 feet wide and 25 feet long is what I would say. And then that bullet has to be made out of neodymium and other materials. Something really, really solid, like maybe titanium. Titanium is light. The lighter we can make it, plus the more stronger we can make it, the faster it'll shoot. A heavy bullet is not necessarily as dangerous as a fast bullet. So you want something fast that'll punch through the glass. A heavy bullet, yeah, but it'll travel slower. So to reach the 10,000 mile per hour range of these railguns requires a lighter bullet. A lighter bullet is faster. A faster bullet will do more damage than a heavier bullet that travels at 6,000 miles per hour. So that's your science. That's what you now have to do to create these railguns that we're going to attach to our spaceships. So that's just one size of the railgun there. And if you look up top there, that chimney, right here, you see the chimney up top there? It's a representation of a railgun. So that bottom fat part there represents like a UFO. And the top chimney part is a representation of a railgun, basically what you're looking at there. So you now have the dimensions of the size of a railgun we need to punch through a pink glass super city. It has to be 8 feet wide and 25 feet tall and made out of light metal so that we can hurl that projectile at 10,000 miles an hour instead of 6,000 miles an hour. And it has to be magnetic so that it can basically levitate in the barrel. If we can make it magnetic, we can levitate it in the barrel and do a hybrid railgun coil gun. If we coil the barrel like this, we can create a coil gun while using a railgun technology. It'll levitate that projectile in the barrel and give it spin as it's going down the barrel. So you put the coils to give it spin, so it's spinning like a bullet. And then you put the railguns on the side in 8 directions to push it down out of the barrel. And you have a coil railgun hybrid that shoots an 8-foot projectile made out of titanium and magnetic materials at 10,000 miles per hour to decimate these pedophiles, pink glass super cities who think they're safe.